Welcome back to another episode of Psychology of Us, the show where we explore the heart and science of human connection. I'm your host, Veronica White, and today we're diving into one of the most emotional and transformative chapters of parenting, navigating the shift from parenting children to supporting young adults. It touches nearly every parent at some point and often leaves them feeling overwhelmed, unsure, and sometimes even heartbroken. There is a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes loud, when you realize your child is no longer a little boy or a girl. Their needs change, their mood shifts, their eyes roll, their room door closes more often, and suddenly what used to be easy and natural, talking, hugging, laughing, feels complicated. It's not just the hormones, the phones, or the push for independence. It's that deep developmental shift where your child is figuring out who they are separate from you. And at the same time, you as the parent are trying to figure out who you are now, that your child isn't clinging to your leg, asking for cuddles, or needing your help with every decision. It's a psychological crossroads. You want to stay close but not suffocate. You want to guide but not control. You want to support but enable. And all of this happening while you're trying to manage your own life, your work, your identity, your relationship, your emotional needs. Parenting doesn't press pause on everything else. The teen years can be a confusing, emotional storm for both the child and the parent. And if you're watching this thinking, why didn't anyone warn me it would feel like this? You are not alone. So today we're talking about that messy middle, about how to move forward as a parent, not just with more rules or better routines, but with more awareness, connection, and confidence. Because parenting isn't a destination, it's a relationship that evolves, and it asks us to evolve too. How do we stay emotionally present when our child starts pulling away? How do we honor their growing independence without losing our bond? And perhaps most importantly, how do we honor ourselves in the process? Many parents feel uncertain, even lost, when their children start pulling away, asking for more freedom and redefining themselves. How do we stay connected while letting go? How do we guide without controlling? And our guest today has built her life's work around helping families to answer these very questions. Joining us is Jess Robertson, a child and family connection strategist and coach with over 20 years of experience in child development, education, and relational psychology. She works alongside high-achieving families and professionals who want to strengthen their connection with their children in their lives, both at home and in the classroom, using practical research-informed strategies. As a parent herself, Jess brings a warm and relatable approach to her work. While always drawing from proven strategies that genuinely support family connection, her work includes proactive coaching, accessible digital resources, and upcoming immersive family retreats, which I might join one day. She's designed to help parents and children reconnect with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Jess believes every child deserves to feel seen, heard, and valued by the adults around them. She knows that true connection is key, and she helps families and educators create it. With a warm and practical approach and the wisdom that comes from both professional and personal experience, Jess helps parents move from disconnection to clarity, from confusion to confidence. So welcome, Jess.
Thank you, Veronica. That's a lovely intro. So thank you for that and having me today.
Thank you for coming. So Jess, I know you've just returned from America with your daughter, and how was your experience?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It's hard to put into words exactly how big of an experience that was. Went into it following her dreams for dance, so she got to live that out with her dance group and dance over at Disneyland.
That sounds amazing.
And then we continued on and had a mother-daughter trip that will build memories to last a lifetime now.
That sounds like,
yeah, it was really it was worthwhile stopping my life for the whole of April and traveling around America and experiencing traveling with your teenager and wanting to spend that quality time together was pretty special.
Yeah, and I know that you have a son as well, and
yes,
you had another connecting trip.
Yeah, it was very important for me to make sure that our moments together count. So I practice what I preach, and we've done some amazing holidays, but I wanted some one-on-one time with them before they set off into adulthood. And so we went to Japan last year, and we had
fantastic.
10 days non-stop, no sleep, no stopping, and just immersed in the culture. And it's always been his dream. So I followed both of their dreams, and it was a real privilege to be let inside their interests, and I let them lead the holidays as well, and they taught me a lot. So
definitely.
And you just got back from Japan with your beautiful girl.
Just last night, actually. That was phenomenal, as you said, the trip, very unique culture. And you went with your daughter and with your son to completely different trips, and you're saying it's because you respect their values and it was their dream.
Yeah, it was completely child-led. My daughter had been saying, and my son, since they were probably your daughter's age, that they've wanted to go to these countries. And what better way to do that in their final years of teenage, the teenage chapter, and have those memories that they've got with me and I have with them before they're out into the adulting world. And, you know, mum and dad take a back seat when we get to that adult life. So it was really nice to grab them in those last childhood moments, really.
How old are they now?
And they are 17 and 19.
Perfect. They definitely will have lifetime memories.
Yeah, that's right. And it was just so wonderful to let go of the controller's mum, organising, making sure the itinerary is the way I would like it, and drag them along. It was completely the opposite. They were organising what we did each day and would collaborate. And there's no me lugging their suitcases. They're doing it all themselves. They're packing, they're enjoying their problem solving when we got on the wrong train. So it was really,
the adventurous.
really yeah, and they really
so then they were invested more once they were
and empowered.
Yes, empowered.
It felt like they were really adulting with my support as well.
So the teenage years, they are pivotal in any child's life, but also in parents' life. And that's what we came to talk about today, how to go through that transition, because many parents, they really face challenging times during those teenage years. And you work with parents and the families to help reconnect.
I definitely do. It's really important as parents that we be kind to ourselves along the parenting journey. It is a long journey. And it changes all the time. So with that, we need to change with our children. Sometimes as parents, we're trying really hard to hold on to who they used to be instead of embracing the child that's in front of us now at the next stage. So connecting and finding out what their new interests are, what their new values are, what their thoughts and opinions on topics, whether it's family, friends, or other topics in the home, and really listen instead of making sure that you're more authoritative in the conversation. Make sure you take a back seat and listen. Another way to connect really deeply with your children at the next transition is to ask if they're needing a listening ear or if they'd like some help with the problem that they're coming to you with.
So it requires involvement of both parties, children and parents.
Yeah, it does. And I think as parents of younger children in different earlier developmental stages, you're used to driving the train and making sure you're mentoring them and guiding them and teaching them right from wrong and solving their problems. So as parents, it's hard to just release that all of a sudden. They get to about 12 years of age and they've got logical thinking happening and they don't need you in the same capacity. So a lot of parents are still holding on to that. In doing that and squashing their autonomy, you could really push them away. And I think that's where it's a bit harder for parents to navigate that tricky time of transitioning from childhood to teenage years.
What to do for parents who, for example, disagree with what their child believes in those teenage years, and then you would love to, you know, let go of control, but you're worried.
Yeah, you're worried, and your worries are valid. We all worry. We love care, and we've nurtured these beautiful humans we're in charge of for so long. All of a sudden they're saying, oh, we don't need you. We've got this. And you can see difference to their opinion. They still need you. They don't know they need you though, but it is in a different capacity. So I would really suggest to get curious, to curiosity over control, to find out why they're choosing their choices or what their opinions are, and really listen to that. For example, it could be that they're wanting to do a certain activity or go to a party that you know that's not quite right, it's good to problem solve with them and get curious on why it's so important for them to go to this party and what they think of the values if they're going, what's going to happen if they go versus your opinion on why they should be staying at home and missing that party. So it's about collaboration instead of dictation with them. Once they realize that you are dictating to them and telling them no without truly listening to them, you've lost them and their wall goes up. Then you've got fire with fire.
Yes. So sometimes, yes, parents, you know, they just pretend that they listen and then they have this in the back of their mind.
Or they're on their phone and listening. And
that's another big thing.
your actual actions that you're doing is more powerful than your words. So when you're actually talking to your child, you need to give them really full respect.
Putting down your phone.
Put down your phone, a bit of eye contact, less talking from your part and more listening, and making sure that even if it's 10 minutes, and even if you've only got 10 minutes, you can tell them that. Say, I've got 10 minutes, I'd really like to listen and have a chat, but keep that free.
That's a good point you said, because there are many parents that are pressed with time, and also the child, you know, sometimes it's hard to actually get them off their phone or any device. So, and if you really tell them that's the 10 minutes we have, they might be more cooperative.
Definitely, and make those routines a part of connecting moments. They don't have to be rushing through the bedtime routines, the meals, the rushing to sports. Those moments can be meaningful. You can have those deeper conversations. You can have those points where you can bring up and get curious about their day or how their life's going or how a friendship's going or their studies. But a lot of parents, we're so busy, we're rushing through them, but they're the moments you can grab because it's not adding to your day. It's just making those moments you actually have together count.
So make the moment you have more meaningful rather than trying to find extra time, extra special time.
And massive, I think a lot of people try and make these massive, extravagant things to engage their children as they grow older, and they actually just need quiet time with you.
And
to feel connected.
That's a very good
Sitting
point.
on the couch together. If they're wanting to use their phone and they're not getting off their phone, sit with them, with your phone, on the couch. Being closely connected without words is powerful as well.
As you said, sometimes, you know, children don't need the perfect parent. They need a real parent who deals the life as well. And for parents, they go through so many things at the same time. It doesn't stop for them, their work, the identity and relationship.
It shifts, and their identity as a parent, we have to be kind to ourselves too. We change as our children change. We're not the same as when we had them as babies. We're going through different things too. So it's important that you have these connections so your children also get to know who you are at this point of your life as well. It goes both ways.
Yes. And so, Jess, how to go for the parents, you know, for that sometimes heartbreaking moment when you were their whole world and all of a sudden you're not anymore?
I think I had an analogy when we first spoke that I find, I don't like to relate to animals, but I find that children are more like puppies. They're so excited to see you could do no wrong and you're the light of their day. Then when it comes to teenagers, they're a bit more like cats, that they like you and they want to be around you, but if you lean in too much how they don't want it, they'll run away. So
certainly do.
So you have to respect that they've got their own identity forming in that way, and be kind to yourself to let that go. The old version of them is lovely, but it's not who they are now, and neither are you. So you've got different interests now as an adult, and you've got more time on your hands now. They don't need the bathing and the smaller tasks.
Wait, was easier to connect before?
So you've got a bit more of you time back, and embrace that too. It's not a sad thing to grieve. You could do extra things for yourself too, or reconnect with your partner. You've got more time on your hands when they grow.
Sounds good. And Jess, I know you work at schools as well with early age of children.
Yes.
And you shared as well that it's very important to connect with children at that stage before the teenage years come in. How is that connected? And can you give us maybe some scenarios if you do connect in early childhood and if you don't. And
Yeah, so as you were saying before about talking about how to make those connections meaningful, and then you're also talking about how to grab them. So those moments are really important when you are in their interests. So when you're taking them to dance lessons or you're taking them to tennis or to football, to actually be there. Yes, you've got work and busy times, but show up. When you're showing up, like, okay, they're on my team. Don't have to be having engaging conversations or massive holidays or anything like that. But that's where they truly feel that you're on their team and on their side. When you're showing up with their interests, or if they're playing video games, you may not know how to play video games.
No,
but 10 minutes, jump on and get curious with them.
yes.
Say, oh, could you show me how to play? I probably can't do it right, but I'm wondering if you could show me how to be a part of your interest.
Interesting. You said that as well, to validate that or acknowledge that you cannot do that, but could you show me?
And let your child be a leader. They actually find that really enjoyable when they get to lead mum and dad.
Finally.
When they get to be in control in the driver's seat, it's really important. But it is a difference. If you're grabbing them, if you're always too busy, and using that language, that's really important to watch your language. You may be busy, but letting your child know that's probably not building a relationship. Talking about it as in, I'd really like to spend time with you. In an hour, I'm going to be finished. I'm wondering what we could do then together, is more powerful than saying, I'm too busy right now.
Definitely. That sounds, like more as a rejection, I'm too busy right now.
Yeah.
But making it predictable and at some stage, we will speak.
Yeah, you can set boundaries and limitations, because your work and what you're doing is actually important in the relationship as well as the family home. But having that gentleness about it is more powerful, because if we shut our children down from a young age, they're not going to come to us when they're older with the bigger things, because they will have the perception that we're too busy.
Yeah. And just, yes, it's, for example, what to do for parents, who did miss that time and then they were too busy, or they didn't have these tools or strategies while they're probably meant to connect with children. Now they're stuck with the behavior or attitude of a typical teenager, as we all fear.
They get labelled, yes, but there's nothing to fear. It's actually just them practicing their autonomy in a safe space still, because they're still with you at home. I'd like to say to parents that it's never too late. It will never be too late to reach your child anytime, anywhere in their age, even when they become adults. But you have to do it with kindness and respect to them. You have to see past their behaviours and see the person. It's the most important thing to do with anyone, adult or child. Don't label them for their behaviours, because their behaviours is actually a message. It's actual communication. It may not feel healthy or productive or kind to you as the adult, but get curious with their behaviour, and then you can reach them more.
Can you share with us some example, perhaps, from your extensive practice, how some behavior which parents find struggle to accept, and how do they see through it, and what came up as a positive result, perhaps, of work?
Yeah, so with my work, I've worked with children all over the age groups, from early childhood to kinder, at the moment predominantly through schools and through families, in primary school to teenage years. The biggest things that come up is the emotional dysregulation. When they are rising with their emotions, it's consistent, and that is a message, and it's a fire that needs to be put out by a calm adult. So a lot of the households or the school dynamics I come across is the anger, because anger can be scary for adults to see a child go through or a teenager go through.
Yes.
So to see that anger as a message, and to realise you have to be their calm to their fire, not meet them with fire. So think of different strategies. So noticing them, I can see you're having a hard time right now. I'm wondering how I could help. Offering that support instead of telling them off or rising, saying they shouldn't be angry. That's in front of them. They don't know what to do with it. So when parents and adults reach them in that restorative way, in that gentler way, that child or that teenager is actually calming. Their wall goes down. Then you can get more curious on what's happened before the anger. So it's always about the lead up to why.
Yes. Okay. So anger is the behavior of the child, not their actual child or their personality.
Yeah, see past it. It's a message. It's a warning that something isn't feeling right for that person.
And what if the parent is, or the family dynamics at the stage when the anger is probably, you know, the dominant language in the family? Do they, I guess my question is, when do they come or reach to that point when they come to you? And if everyone's angry in the family, where do we start? What I'm trying to ask is, sometimes it's so hard in the moment when you feel like your family's fallen apart, even to find the strength and to connect with someone like you and say, look, we really need help.
Yeah, so a lot of families, it's not just the anger that they come to me for, it's the fact that they're time poor as well. So not only have they got these issues going on in their home where they're feeling disconnected as a family unit or with their children, they're also very busy. So a lot of it is sitting back and finding out what's going on for the parents as well. And it's not to blame the parents, it's to see how they could take care of themselves in the situation as well, because it's heavy, it's not easy.
Yes.
And so I'm making sure that the parent is understanding what's going on for them when their child's like this and what they could do and their part in it, and making sure that they're going into the conversations and connection regulated and calm, and what they could do instead of. So instead of going in when you're upset and they're upset for it to blow up again, notice your child and say, I can see you're having a hard time. I'll be back in 10 minutes. I need to go and have some fresh air outside. You're not abandoning them, but you're letting them know that you want to come back and connect.
And that's example of positive boundaries as well.
Yeah, and self-care.
Self-care.
The parents have to care for themselves if they're going to care for their child.
That's probably was my question, as you know, before. To be calm for our children, we need somewhere resources as well to.
Yeah, and we're humans.
Sustain
Everyone's going to escalate. Can't be a calm parent all the time. And being a calm parent doesn't mean passive. Doesn't mean you get walked all over and they can do what they want at home and they get to rule the house and you just sit there all calm and relaxed.
Well, my 6-year-old daughter calls me Hulk, you know, when I'm going into the state of not very regulated calmness. So she calls me Hulk and I'm like, well, Mummy is Hulk, maybe 5 minutes. I truly apologise, but I'll be back.
If Mum's Hulk, I think I need a timeout now. Having a timeout, So they can, and that's the thing. They sense it when you're not feeling yourself, and that will make them even more uncomfortable. So it'd be nice if that you could come in as that more gentler side and problem solve what's going on for them and yourselves in the situation.
And just how is it important to accept and acknowledge for parents that they probably were wrong at some stage for a child and apologize for their behavior? Because I know some parents struggle to acknowledge that they could be wrong.
And we're all humans. No one's perfect parent or perfect human. So to acknowledge that you're wrong doesn't mean defeat, and it doesn't mean weakness. I think a lot of families think that that's what it means. If you apologize, then they're not going to respect me anymore. But they do hold more respect if you can own things. And what I like to say to families is that you want them to own when they've made a mistake, and that mistakes are natural, and that it's okay to make mistakes. You have to model that.
Yes.
So if you're not modeling that, they're going to grow up pushing all of that down and not wanting to apologize for things that they should as well.
It's such a transformative process for all the family members.
And I often find a lot of families find it really interesting to know, when we reflect back on their journey and what it was like a few years ago, how their language with their children were, or what phase the family were going through. It might have been a hard time for them and they're a bit more dysregulated and used wording that's now 2 years on their children are using with them.
Yes.
So it's historical. They're learning off us all the time and mirroring the good and the bad. The things we don't want are coming back to us, even if it's a few years later.
And sometimes we're not aware that we're doing
Definitely
even in the
not.
process.
We're just going through the motions of the day.
Yes.
It's hard to be a parent. There's a lot on as a parent.
And it's great to be aware when our child reflects us and we're like, oh, I wasn't even sure that I was doing that.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Some families come to me with a list of things that they're needing to work on, and as we're talking, they often have that light bulb moment. Oh, hang on a moment. I remember a time when I did this a few years back, and this is the same.
Do you find that the problem they bring to the table when they start working with you is actually never a problem in the first place? It's something else?
I find the problem they come to me is the tipping point, the point where they can't cope anymore with it, and they're feeling really disconnected with their family, and they want different. They want to have connecting relationships. So yes, I do find that when we peel it back, it's definitely much different to what the final issue is that they come to me for.
Okay. Jess, I'd like to ask you the question about what about the families where one family member is, trying to reconnect with their child and really willing to put work and effort into it, but another member of the family not supporting it, but against it and holding the whole family dynamic back. How do you approach that?
Yeah, well, normally I have a lot of families that come to me for that as well, because then it comes into being a team, and being a team is the pivotal. It's the pivotal part of staying connected.
Yes.
So, and the children know when you're not a team as well, and they like to play off on that. I'm sure everyone's experienced that when mum says one thing and dad says another, and then they go with the one that they like the most.
Yes.
Yeah, and then mum and dad have this
and
communication
as
thing.
well.
Yes. Then they have a conversation too. So, what I have to say is that it takes work like everything else, and it's not just about blame. I think generally the parent that is not on board feels blame, and it's not blame. It's just choosing something different, because the question I normally ask is, it's seeming it's hard at the moment. I'm wondering if you want to choose this hard, or you want to choose a hard that changes the relationships in the family. And generally they pick the tools. They want some tools, then it brings the family together. And what I have to say to the parent that is struggling with the other parent not contributing with the change or the connection is, just choose what you're doing yourself. Lean in and dig deep to what you want to do with your child and how you want to connect with your child.
And just monitor.
Focus on that relationship. Because sometimes also the parent that really wants to connect is so focused on what the other parent isn't doing, they're actually missing their moments.
Yes,
they're missing their connection. They're missing the fun because they're so frustrated with the other. So put your lens and your torchlight on what you can do instead of what's not working.
So what I'm hearing from you, Jess, is people can be angry, people can be frustrated and have their moments, but once we are regulated, we can actually have conversation about deeper things.
Yeah, and you can also hear
tougher conversations.
You can listen when you're regulated as well. It's not just about being in the moment or in the room. You actually have the ability to listen with your thinking brain on, and you can strategize and really connect in a different level. So make sure you're doing your self-care as a parent. It's so important.
So just if, for example, the family made that decision that they will work with you, and they've gone through this decision process of, okay, my family needs help and it's okay to ask for help. And how does it look like, the work? Is maybe people would like to know how many sessions is that on average, and I understand it's individual, but some guidelines for people who never probably worked with someone like you.
Yeah, so generally I have different tiers of groups that I work with. Sometimes I'm about to release an online module, so the families can do it privately, and they can do their modules week by week at their own pace and work together with some worksheets and some strategies to learn and implement at home. And then they could organise a one-on-one meeting with myself for more personalised information.
That sounds like a good starting point when you're not sure and you're like, okay, I would like...
You just want to dip your toe in the water, or you're not sure what it's going to be about, and you know that there's nothing big, but you just want to connect with your family on a different level. We're all working towards improving everything.
It actually pops the question for me, what if family feels okay and they're like connected, but can they take it to another level with you?
Yeah, we can just fine-tune everything, even just curiosities and wonderings and issues that do pop up that may not be a massive burden on yourself, but you just want to fine tune. Everyone, it's like going to the gym.
Yeah, the prevention is the best cure sometimes.
Yeah,
isn't
we
it?
don't need to do anything at the gym, but we still go for that tuning or your car service.
And I think it's an amazing point, because sometimes we have to just wait till like the tipping point of that, what we don't.
Yeah, you don't need to. It's preventative measures, and that can be so influential for all family members.
I personally love therapy.
Yeah,
I always have
there's nothing wrong
something.
with therapy, and it's really it's a great starting point to also show your children what it's like. It's like they go to school to learn.
Yes.
As adults, why can't we go and learn? Learn
Yes.
different ways, different things, and you don't know what you don't know. So once I would work with the families in that capacity, I also have for families, I work with more busy, high performance families that are really career focused but really love their family.
Of
and
course.
they're missing that key ingredient on how to do both, because you can do both.
Yes.
So they're feeling a disconnect, and they come to me, and I do personalised private package for those families, and we work for X amount of weeks together. I even go to have personal meetings in person and talk to all the family members and see how they're feeling as well. So that's another level.
That sounds like a great experience.
Yeah.
And also you mentioned that there will be immersive retreats. And
Yes.
how does that look like? I think I'm so inspired to
So
join.
they're in the works now. It will be a time for a few days for you to unplug, not by force, because you'll want to. There'll be immersive experiences for your family to do together, to connect on different levels, not just going on a family holiday and swimming by the pool. Actually having things that will be team building and relationship building. And then there'll also be times where it's just the parents and just the children having some experiences as well. Just feeling really connected, a bit like how I was explaining with my teens. I made that for them. But this is different. This is for families. It will be a small amount of families so that you could get real one-on-one support in different areas. It's not a therapy weekend though. It's a connection weekend.
Connection weekend.
So it's everything that you're talking about that parents just want to fine-tune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm on the waiting list.
Yeah.
Please put my
Great.
name.
It's in the works. And there'll be some other people giving some other talks or other gems to the families on the weekend as well. But it will just be a weekend of fun.
That actually leads us to my probably last question. What's maybe some practical tools for people, for who is watching us today, some parents, something that they can start doing today perhaps when they face their teenagers?
Yeah, being curious. I said it earlier, but
yes.
being curious with their children is so important. I'm wondering, or I'm noticing, see your child for who they are, past their behaviour, and see those smaller moments where you can connect in your already busy days, whether it's the car trip home. Instead of talking at your child, listen. Always listen. It's always important.
I think you shared with me, I love that we can add the language, and you said it's wondering what's happening in their life.
Wondering instead of dictating.
wonder.
I wonder, I'm curious, I've noticed. Those are key words that keep their walls down.
Yes.
There's no walls that come up when you say don't, stop and no. The walls go up. But this really keeps it down. And that's language that you can even use with adults in business. You can use it with
definitely.
all communication. And same with teens. It's really important to have that with them as well.
Yeah, even mentioning now, I feel like I could really open up and then tell more about myself and everything. So
And there's
definitely
there's
works.
analogies with teenagers, for example, or children that choose a different choice. So, for example, historically, you would like your child to have natural hair and they want to colour their hair. And, decades ago, it would be no, I said no. And that would be the end of the conversation. But children are more emotionally involved now. They need more.
Yes.
Just telling them no because I said so and I'm your mum is not enough for them.
No.
So, and also it's important time. Instead of seeing what they're wanting to do, see why. I'm wondering why you really want to dye your hair now. Haven't heard that before. And I think it might be a bit young, but what are your thoughts? Oh, because so-and-so is doing it, everyone's doing it, and I'm the only one. So then it's about exclusion,
Yes.
not the hair.
Yes.
And then you can work with the exclusion and you can see how the friendships are going for your child.
So curiosity, gentle language, wonder language,
Yep.
and being involved, being present for your children.
Yeah, and self-care for the
and
parents.
For yourself.
Yes, definitely self-care for the parents.
And being okay that you're making mistakes and you're just human.
Yeah, and show them that that's okay, because we want them to be learners, and active learners make mistakes. That's where the best inventions have come from in life. So we want to make sure we support them that way.
Well, it sounds like you're doing great work, Jess, and then
Thanks,
transformative
Veronica.
work for families. And
Thank you.
I'm sure many people would love to join and do the work with you, or strategists like you.
Yeah.
I'll add your details
Perfect, thank
in
you.
here so they can connect with you. But thank you so much for sharing these practical strategies here, and people can do it straight away.
Thank you so much for having me, Veronica. It was lovely to chat.
Thank you. Parenting teens isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, curious, and open to change. And if there is one thing we hope you take away from today's episode, it's that connection doesn't come from control or perfection. It comes from consistency, compassion, and small intentional moments. It's easy to look back and wish we'd done things differently. Maybe we snapped when we meant to listen. Maybe we tried to fix when should have just held space. But here's the truth. Your child doesn't need a flawless parent. They need a real one. Today, Jess reminded us that it's never too late to reconnect, that even if your teenager seems distant, silent, or even angry, underneath it all is deep desire to be seen, heard, and understood. So maybe tonight it's not about the big talk. Maybe it's just sitting beside them on the couch without checking your phone. Maybe it's saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about you lately. Want to go for a walk?" Or simply, "I'm here, no matter what." And as you continue this journey as a parent, don't forget, you are a person too. You're allowed to grow, to change, and to care for yourself. Because when you feel grounded and whole, it becomes so much easier to hold space for someone else. And to everyone watching, whether you're parenting, teaching, mentoring, or simply reflecting on your own teenage years, remember this. Relationships aren't built in the calm, they're built in the repair. So let's keep choosing connection, one day at a time. Until next time, I'm Veronica White, and this is Psychology of Us. Stay kind, stay curious, and keep growing together.